Welcome. Today is our last session before you go into the busy summer. So I would just want to say for all of you that have come on this journey, thank you for coming along. I want to thank the board at DKA just for saying, hey, this is a great idea. Let's help out our members, give them some education surrounding customer service. Today's a little bit different, but again, I looked at it as kind of a map. And this is really the final piece in that map to get you to where you want to go. That was a pretty good metaphor, actually. I just noticed I look like Johnny Cash. And I am a Calgary Flames fan. Sorry for all you Canucks fans, but the Ring of Fire is real, okay? Today is about onboarding. And again, it's a critical piece. And let me tell you a couple stories which kind of illustrate why I chose this content for today. It was a car dealership and one of the fellows was leaving. And so the owner said, hey, no problem. Here's a couple $100. Go take Mark out for lunch. And so they take Mark out and he kind of says, yeah, this is a great place to work, but I found another opportunity. And anyway, long story short is they spent about $200 on giving Mark an exit. And isn't it funny if they would have spent the same money, energy, time on Mark prior to him joining the dealership, how much further they would have been. So today is about you and how you accept a person into your company. Now, today's list is incredibly comprehensive. I tried to give you as much as I could into the PowerPoint so that you can go back to this and use it as a reference point for your company. Now, again, I want to illustrate this. When we're going up this mountain, just pick and choose what works for you. If you're a smaller company, take some of these vital elements and use them for your company. Because again, I am seeing so many companies struggling with labor. And there is a labor shortage, no question. But just the other day, I was dealing with a downtown merchant. He's bringing in a pivotal employee. Now, this person could change the value of their company. And I kind of said, well, so what's your next steps? Are you going to go over specific job responsibilities? And I talked about some of the steps when you bring people into your company. And guess what? He says, you know what? I haven't done a lot of that. So I'm gonna loop back around on that. So again, I cannot state this enough. In today's talent war that we're all faced with, how you bring them in is going to make you more successful. And a lot of you are going to say, well, Rick, I'm not going to spend all this time and energy and resources on this person because what if I train them and then they leave? What if they stay and you haven't done any of this stuff? That's the other thing. So what I'm going to do is this PowerPoint is very comprehensive. No question, you don't have to do all this stuff, but I need you to do at least 30% of it to make it work for you, okay? So are you with me so far? Okay. So on slide number 1, why onboarding is so important. Now I'm going to read this stat to you. Employees that go through a structured onboarding program are 69% more likely to stay for 3 or more years. Let me say that again. 69% more likely to stay 3 or more years if you have a structured onboarding program. Labor shortage, talent war, this is all key reasons why you are going to start. Any new employees are going to go through a structured onboarding program for your company, okay? Let's talk about that. All right. Okay, there's going to be 4 phases of successful onboarding. Pre-arrival. Now, wait a second. They haven't even got here yet? Exactly. You're going to make the place more comfortable for them to arrive at. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to confirm start date, time, place, parking, transportation, dress code. Quick story. I used to work in menswear. The first day I showed up in my menswear store, I was wearing black acid wash jeans and a pink Ocean Pacific shirt. And the owner brought me aside and he says, listen, you can't actually sell menswear to people if it doesn't look like you can dress. So we're going to set up an account for you. And it was one of the kindest things anyone's ever done for me. Identify computer needs and requirements, set up email address and add to company directory. If you have one, again, use this for you, okay? All of this stuff happens before they arrive. Not that, oh my gosh, you're here today? I didn't even know. Susan never told me. Susan never tells me anything. All that stuff, we're gonna do away with that. Okay, setting up the workstation. You're going to make sure that when they arrive, they basically could start working at that moment. Now you're saying, wait a second, what if we need people with initiative? What if we need people that are intuitive? So what they actually need, they figure out as they go along. Don't do that, please. One of my very good friends started selling for a home builder. And again, they just said after the first week, well, we were kind of expecting you would just pick up the stuff as you went along. A lot of those things were legal documents. So again, I just can't say this enough. We're going to do a lot of this work so your new employees feel really good. And again, this list is very comprehensive, but we're going to stick in it, okay? Why don't you create a welcome pack with instructions for access? What? But why don't they just go through the whole organization and figure that stuff out on their own? Stop doing that, okay? Okay, here's the other thing. Set up regularly scheduled meetings. Here's what your new employee is going to want to expect when they're going to get touch points. So when you're actually going to connect back with them and find out how they're doing, what's things going like? Have you had any trouble? Anything I can help with? Support. Pertinent training sessions. Again, we need to deal with development. Maybe it's showing a video of me. Who knows? Schedule a team lunch to introduce the new hire on day 1 or day 2. Why is that key? Well, here's why. Because again, remember that car dealership story when they had the lunch at the end? He hadn't met a lot of the people he was working with in a social setting. So guess what they do? They leave because they don't have a friend. They don't have somebody that they like and they want to continue working with. People don't leave organizations where they have someone they like or a friend. They just don't, because that's where they get their social as well, okay? Plan the new hire's first role. Again, this goes back to that other story when I was dealing with the downtown merchant. They hadn't specified exactly what they would be doing on a day-to-day basis and where to structure their time. In that whole 8-hour shift, you're going to spend 30% on dealing with new customers. You're going to spend 30% on inventory management. You're going to spend 20% on here. And you're going to start breaking down a perfect day. Never happens like that. But again, if you give them a very clear understanding of what they're supposed to be doing, they like that. Okay, how about this? Connect with accounting to make sure that they actually get paid. I know, this is great. Share documentation around basic office processes, expense reports, timesheets. Again, if you have them, I'm not saying, some of these places, I know you have 1 or 2 employees, or maybe you're just running the show. This is about growth. This is about the future. This is about moving forward, okay? Grant access to key accounts, drive systems, tools, and platforms, and maybe a back end so that if they do happen to do something silly, you also know how to take all that stuff back. Hey, we got a plan for the future. Add new hire to Slack. Rick, what's Slack? It's an internal communication process. Again, your organization may not be big enough, but Slack is one of those wonderful things that if I have a thought and it's going to affect the team, it's a way for me to communicate that with the whole team. So just look at it. It can be any service you want. Slack's one of them, okay? Here's a key one. Request a bio from the new hire. And here's what happens with this. I've been in great organizations where they do this. They might find out that I'm a Calgary Flames fan. So somebody else in the office goes, oh, you're a Flames fan? Well, let's get together and watch a game or something like that. If you share information about each other, it's interesting, the connection points. I like dogs. I like camping, dirt biking. I like all this stuff. Somebody else that may resonate with. So then you're building relationships, you're building connections. Key to getting them to stick in there with you. Okay, so here's this is all about getting comfortable. Do you love that picture of the guy? Yeah, it's a really good picture. Okay. You're going to make introductions. You're going to do a new hire announcement. You're going to share company swag. Now, it seems small, but company swag. I was working in a company where somebody saw another employee get a water bottle with a company logo. Now, this person was kind of upset. I know it's weird, but they're so proud of where they work. They were like, well, I love this place. I've been giving my heart for this place, and they get the new water bottle. Again, it's just about creating policy around how people come into your organization. If you're going to have champions in your place, and if you give them this stuff, which again, some people don't make good swag, no offense, but if you have actually decent swag, give it to them. Provide a list of close eating spots and protocol around taking breaks. Why is that important? So that they don't leave for an hour and a half and you go, where's Bob? Bob goes, I thought we could, no? Okay. Take the new hire out to lunch with the core team. You can't do that enough. And you're like, why all these lunches? Why do we have a labor shortage? Because people keep going from place to place because they can't find a home. You be the home. Let them come home. Tour the office or workplace. Bathrooms, printers and copiers, office supplies, lunchroom, first aid kit. How important is the first aid kit? Well, as somebody who used to work on the volunteer ambulance service, kind of key, because guess what? Knowing where it is kind of important, so everyone knows where that is. I know I'm not being nervous, Nelly. I'm just saying everyone should know where the first aid kit is. Okay, this is I'm just going to provide a couple of key points in regards to this list because they're the points that I need you to laser focus in on. One of them is on review mission statement, brand values, organization structure, and goals. Again, Rick, I'm a small company. I don't think I have a mission statement. Then have a story about your company. Have an idea of what the goal is. Like, why are we all here? Why are we all working? Goals is kind of funny because if you communicate your goals to your employees of where you're trying to take the company, the business, your storefront, they actually help in different ways that you didn't even think possible. If you share the goals, if you're one of those people, well, they don't need to know that. They just need to show up for work on time. You get more if you allow people access to that internal information that you think is just for you. It's actually for them. Help the new hire navigate the materials by prioritizing what they should review first and setting up check-ins to go through what they've learned and ask any questions. What I mean by that is there's delegate. Okay, delegating is when I tell you to do something, you go do it, and I check in and I go, hey, Randy, how's it going? Like, I gave you that list. Did you get through the list? Did you understand it? When can we talk about this again? That's delegation. Abdication is when you go, here's the list, and then they never hear from you, talk to you. Like, there's no communication around the project whatsoever. So what I want you to start doing is those check-ins, especially with these new hires. Okay, you're going to clarify the schedule for them and set up meetings with core team members. Again, another meeting, Rick. Isn't this overkill? Review job description and set expectations about what the new hire will be doing, their specific responsibilities, and how you'll be measuring success in the first 30, 60, 90 days. How you will measure success. Let's talk about that for a second. I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm going to measure your success. What? So again, they can be successful then. If it's just like, well, they should know what they're supposed to be doing. They should know. Come on. Again, maybe your goalposts are different from theirs. So if you tell them where the goalposts are, they're actually going to strive for those instead of spending unnecessary time on stuff that you don't want them to. 30, 60, 90 days, very key. And here's another one. Make sure they understand your personal management style. Mine is when I manage people, I tell them, here's a couple of things you need to know. Timing, I'm not great at it because I try and do too much within an hour. And I'm optimistically thinking I can get it all done. So if you have a clear set schedule, let's set up an agenda for meeting times or anything else like that, so I can make sure I can manage my own time better, because I'm horrible at that. So these are some of the things you need to go through with them and just say, here's how I like to deal with people. What do you think about that? Okay. Explain the annual review and goal setting process. Again, it might be overkill for your organization. I don't care. At least it gives you an idea of what could be possible. Okay, more training, assign an onboarding buddy. Who's an onboarding buddy? Well, this is somebody, they don't want to deal with a manager or an owner all the time because they feel like I'm burdening them with all my questions. But if they have an onboarding buddy, they know that that person is not supposed to roll their eyes when they ask them a dumb question. And there's going to be a ton of them. So an onboarding buddy basically says, yeah, of course, we'll go through that again, because you know what, maybe I didn't explain it that well. You're going to set them up with an onboarding buddy that's actually a nice, patient person. You're not going to set them up with somebody that's not that persnickety. You know what I mean? I want somebody that when I ask you a question, you don't go, I want that person to actually go, of course, yeah, absolutely. So they don't feel like a putz for asking, okay? Review internal processes and workflow overview. All right, encourage success. Here we go. Arrange a lunch or happy hour with the larger team, help the new hire meet more people and grow their visibility. Again, if they have more connections around the workplace, they're going to be happier because they get to know more people. Set aside time to review your working relationship, discuss opportunities to improve and probe for feedback, questions, concerns. Again, you're sitting there going, this is so like, remember Nick? He just came on and he was awesome. He was brilliant and he's been with us ever since then. We didn't do any of this stuff. Well, here's the funny thing about that person. That is lucky, okay? That was lucky. And I think if we're trying to replicate a guy like Nick, we're going to set up a process so we can always know what the outcome is going to be. You do get those one-offs. And does that happen? Absolutely it does. But I'm just saying, why don't we try to build and tighten it up, just tighten up the process so that we get more Nicks. I don't know why I use the word Nick. My cousin, Nick, he's a good guy. He's the guy that would lay down in traffic for you. That's the kind of guy Nick is. Anyway, based on the success of your new hire's first assignment, schedule time to regroup and discuss what worked and what didn't. Make adjustments and set clear goals for a 6-month review. Again, we're just talking about checking in. Remember, delegate, not abdicate. We're going to discuss additional assignments, as well as a larger roadmap of key initiatives. We're just making sure that they're on the same page we are. Set performance expectations, assigning the other required reading. Here's something else that I find is interesting for organizations. There's a lot of different ways people can get information about your products, your store, that kind of thing. One is talking to you. The other one is the interweb, trade journals. Talking to customers is actually great because the customer will tell the business exactly what's important to them, what their values are, why they resonate with that company. So anytime you can, give them other resources to connect with so that they can tell a greater story about your company. Make sense? Okay. All right. We've gotten to the end, which seems amazing because I had 15 slides here. And notice the pictures. I spent some time on the pictures. And you're like, well, there was that one slide with a kid on it. Kids, puppies, babies, it's all good stuff, right? A successful onboarding experience will help you and new hires for months to come. That's why planning ahead is unsurprisingly your key to bringing and keeping hires who will stay for the long haul. If you don't have an onboarding program, you're going to continue to suffer labor shortage. You're going to lose in the talent war. And it is a talent war because the people that are here that are really good employees, good talent, they're helping grow your business. they're fewer and far in between. So I need you to start enhancing how they come into your organization, because again, I'm seeing it across different categories. We just don't seem to have a system around this because we think intuitively they'll just figure it out as they go along. You know, fight or flight. 10 years ago, I would totally say you're probably right. Now, if you don't have an onboarding system, you have a problem. That's just the way it is. To close this off, again, we might crank this up again in the fall. Please give your feedback to Chris or Mark down at the DKA, because I'm telling you, that organization, for them to go with this program and really make it come to life, has been a wonderful, great working with them. I'm happy to share whatever insights I have. You can reach me if you have any questions about this. Maybe I can direct you to people that can help you build your own onboarding system if you need one. But yeah, this has been a pleasure for me. I've connected with a lot of you, and yeah, I've learned a lot along the way by just diving back into this information. So again, can't say enough about downtown Kelowna and the fact that we're going to have this wonderful Bernard Street closure. So looking forward to that, and so looking to spending some time and money in downtown Kelowna.